Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you guys so much for watching another live broadcast right here in our studios from Inside Out. I'm your host, Jay, and this is another episode of our Roundtables. As you guys can see, we're going to be talking about something very important, which is all of these winter storms, the weather events, the cold weather, and our locked up loved ones. With that said, let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to another live edition of From Inside Out. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do very much appreciate it. And I hope every single one of you are staying warm. As you guys can see, I'm dressed appropriately for the major weather event that's happening here in Florida. As some of you may or may not know, we broke all records when it comes to snowfall out here in Florida, according to what I've seen. And for your information, just to put it out there before we get started, we have had about 10 inches or so here in Florida, of all places. So, man, what a record-breaking event right there, but it's rare. But anyways, before we get started with the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our co-host, Tammy, to the show. Welcome, Tammy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are all of you?
Freezing my ass off. Freezing my ass off, as you know. But anyways, I'm surviving. How you doing, Tammy?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all we can do, right?
Yep.
But yeah, we are definitely cold as heck. It's going to be down in the teens tonight here. And as you heard me in the introduction, Tammy, I don't know if you heard me or not, but we got about 10 inches of snow out here. And
yeah, my bestie lives about 40 minutes west of you. East of you.
Right. So. Yeah. It was so dang cold. It destroyed my plans of wanting to make a snowman. I didn't even.
Really?
I didn't even. Yeah.
Really,
I didn't even.
Jay? Really?
Yeah.
Come on now.
I know. I was too dang cold. I didn't want to even go on in it. But my kids did go on in it for a little bit. They played on their trampoline.
Oh, man.
So, but anyways, we got Bert in here. What's going on, Bert? How you doing? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And of course, as you know, we got Vicky in here. She got in here a few minutes ago and said this. Hi, Jay and Tammy. Hope you are staying warm. Absolutely. And then, of course, we have, who's this? Bert. Hello, all. Absolutely. And we also have Cynthia in here. Welcome, Cynthia. She said, hello. And she also said this, Jay, I thought you'd be outside making snow angels. Well, again, if I can't make a snowman, I'm not going to be making snow angels. Yeah, but I was an idea. I thought about it.
Cynthia, we need to take him out back somewhere, I think.
No, I'm cool. And then Texas Mom, what's going on, Texas Mom? She's in here too as well. Thank you so much for being here. Anyways, with that being said, Tammy, we have an interesting show tonight. Do you want to kind of touch base on it a little bit before we get started?
Well, just like we did our series on the heat in the summer, we need to reflect upon winter and the Bruce. Listen to me. Oh my goodness. The harsh reality of what it's like for people, especially like this little bit, like you said, for example, how rough it is for you in Florida and not being used to it. But even people that are used to the cold, the reality is in Michigan, Minnesota,
hi, John,
New York, places like that, it's freezing up there.
Right. Yeah, it is. And of course, always up north is always more colder, obviously, than down here in the south. But man, we're basically right there with them in a sense. But man, oh man, yeah. And So I understand, Tammy, with, of course, your help and whatnot. And again, welcome back to the show. And I hope everything is going okay on your side of the fence when it comes to all this personal stuff that you've been having. So again,
Well, basically, I'll just kind of give a rundown because I'm sure there's inquiring minds want to know, so to
mhm.
speak. But
Okay, yeah,
I
but I
had
just want
a I had a family friend that had called me last week on Tuesday.
to.
He was borrowing my car, and he said, "Hey, I he was giving praying with a homeless man."
Oh,
And once he got up from there and he got back in the car, he says, "I really don't feel good. I'm going to go to the ER." I said, "Can you drive?" He said, "Yeah, I think I can." I said, "Well, if you think, let's just call 911. I'll figure out how to get my card. No big deal." He's like, "No, I can get to the ER." He gets to the ER. 20 minutes later, I get a call, and I know most of the staff up there. And she calls me and she says, "Tammy, you have to get up here right now. He's in critical condition."
uh-oh.
So what had happened is that he had a tiny, tiny aneurysm that bled
Ooh.
out into his brain. So he had a brain bleed, and they
Huh?
couldn't life flight because the weather here was so bad. They had to take him by EMS, which
Yeah.
it's a 45 to 50-minute drive with the traffic.
Hi,
So
Ashley.
it was a nightmare, you know. And so for the last week I've been juggling his household with his dogs and stuff,
Mhm.
plus going up there to the ICU and back and forth and working. So
Ooh.
it's been a nightmare of sorts right now. But he's
Okay.
getting
Well,
released tomorrow.
okay. So he's
They've
getting better,
kind of
or is he?
leveled him out, you know. So
Okay. Well, I hope our prayers, including all of us here, have worked. Nonetheless, we did send healing prayers for you and your friend. That's sad to hear, but I'm glad he's okay. I hope, anyways.
yeah, he's better. And prayers do matter a lot, guys. I just can't tell you how much a prayer is worth sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Absolutely. But with that said, keep us updated if anything happens with that. And I hope this person gets better and gets to come home and be with family and whatnot. But kudos to him for also helping with the homeless. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, we kind of that's kind of our heart. That's what we did Christmas and Thanksgiving, cooked and took plates around and things like that. You
Okay.
know, the thing is, like, I want to touch on another friend that I'd like to ask prayers for. All the people that do pray.
Yes.
I have a my best friend's mother who has been a nurse her whole entire life, a
Mhm.
specialty nurse at that.
Okay.
And she has taken care of people her whole life. She has been battling lung cancer for 3 years now. So I am
Mm.
going to ask all of you to pray very heavily.
Yes.
Does not, she wants to be here. And we've been praying. I put her on my prayer list on all my groups and things. And she has been doing better, but we just need that extra push of those prayers.
Absolutely. All
Really,
right. Well,
really,
we'll get
really
a.
do. Love and
Okay.
light to
Well,
everybody. I'm sorry I didn't put it in the chat. Tonight, we're
yeah.
going to be discussing the heat and how to
Yes.
advocate for our loved ones. If you want to, you can take screenshots, share with your groups, any advocates that are in our group tonight. If you want copies of what I have, I will happily send it to post in the groups. I will definitely be posting in Tanya's group
Yes.
everything that I have. But if you guys need any of it, or if we go too fast or anything like that, please, um, you know,
Thank
yell at
you.
us in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you for the prayers, guys. Already. Yeah. Let's start a prayer chain, and let's get that
Her
started.
name is Debbie.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, guys. I appreciate it. But Tammy, real quick before we get started, I want to know for sure because I kind of want to do this in order. I understand that you got everything marked here down and numbered everything. But what do you want me to do? Do you want me to show the images of the text, or do you want me to show videos first and some of the data up on the screen? What do you want me to do first?
You can do video if you want to do the video that the gentleman do
Okay.
that one, and then we can go through the article, and then we can go through the slides to give
Okay. The slides.
everybody
Perfect.
a overview at the end.
Okay, perfect. Absolutely. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we have a very interesting podcast for you guys set tonight. There's a lot of information and whatnot to unpack. And please, if you have a locked up loved one that's dealing with this very big time cold event, winter event, however you want to word it, please take notes if need be. And of course, the good news here is for whatever reason, if you missed the beginning or any parts of this podcast tonight, the replay always gets put up after I'm done with this live. So you'll get to see it one way or another, whether it's live or later in your own time and leisure, just for the record. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get the share screen set up here. We're going to do a video, and then we're going to do some data up on the screen, and then we're going to do a bunch of slides that I think is more crucial than anything tonight when it comes to the data. That way you guys can, take screenshots if need be, or take notes with your notepad or whatever you got there, and use this for your locked up loved one's situation when it comes to this cold weather. So let's go ahead and get into the share screen real quick. and put it up. Where did it go? Right here. Is this it? Yeah. And okay. Allow. And here we go. All right. This guy is an advocate. He's from Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. And again, credit goes to him for putting this up. Go ahead and listen to this guy's message. He's on TikTok, as you guys can see here. And we'll play the message and listen to what he has to say. And then we'll go ahead and show you guys the data. And then we'll do the slides and show you guys more information. I hope you guys appreciate it. Here it is.
Great morning, everyone. It's definitely cold here in Atlanta. And so just a quick video to just say that I definitely did not forget, have not forgotten about how it was when I was incarcerated in the heat. I know it's a struggle, and I'm not forgetting places that I was when it was cold and there was no heat. So I know in Georgia right now that's a big topic, as well as I'm sure in other states. So even if you're discouraged and even if it seems like no one will listen, this goes out to the loved ones as well as those who are incarcerated. Keep making noise. Keep fighting. Keep writing. Keep emailing. If you got an opportunity to protest, keep protesting. But you got to keep being the squeaky wheel, and hopefully you'll get some attention. But just know my thoughts and prayers are with you.
And there you guys go. And again, he's an advocate too, guys, just so you know. I'm not sure of his handle name right here, right there, Prisoner Advocacy. Now, again, if you guys are on TikTok, there it is. Go check his channel out or his page out and let him know Jay sent you if you want to, or whoever. Anyways, Prisoner Advocacy, there he is. He's from Georgia, and he's speaking pretty much loud and clear too about the heat issues and whatnot in our prisons and jails. There's that. Much love and respect for him for that information anyways, regardless. All right, with that, let's go ahead and show you guys now a piece of information or data that my good friend Tammy sent me. It's coming from Vox. So again, VOX. This information's in the title description of our video tonight. The link is anyways. And again, all credit and whatnot go to Vox for putting this on. And the question is why people are freezing in America's prisons. And I'm not sure, Tammy, if you wanted to read this article off, or do you want me to read it?
I can. I'm just got to get it pulled up here. I'm almost there.
Sure,
okay,
absolutely.
So basically, this was written in 2019, so that just goes to show you that it never ends, kind of.
Yeah, it's an ongoing battle, isn't it? Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I respect about the gentleman you just saw. He is very vocal about speaking up. I know that we get scared about retaliation, and there are other advocates that are like, oh, don't do that because they'll take it out on your loved one. Yes, they may do that, but if your loved one, like my loved one, he's like, you have to do what's right, not what's easy. And he's willing to take what he's got to take in retaliation for me speaking up on his behalf and others, because if we don't speak up, it never changes. It will stay the same. But we have to do it in a manner that's respectful, regardless if the people that we're dealing with are like the most unscrupulous, unkind people that you could ever deal with. Anyway, As New York temperatures dropped in early December, a public defender in Brooklyn tweeted a request for warm clothing for those incarcerated on Rikers Island. It's freezing outside. It's even colder on Rikers.
Yeah.
Scott
Wow.
Heicher wrote to his nearly 70,000 followers. Right now, people are walking around in a blanket they're provided, literally shivering. Guards open windows to spite them. See what I mean? The guards would actually open the windows to, like, the crap never ends. Anyway, he asked for help filling an Amazon wish list of thermal underwear, socks, and undershirts, items that have been approved by the New York City Department of Corrections
Correct.
for use in city jails. These are also items many would assume the Department of Corrections would provide for incarcerated people themselves. When asked about the need for warm clothes, Peter Thorne, a deputy commissioner of the public information at New York City Department of Corrections, told Vox that the agency works to ensure people in its custody don't get too cold. We take numerous precautions, including taking regular temperature readings, providing blankets if needed, and even relocating individuals if a cold temperature situation can't be quickly resolved. The department takes all complaints about conditions inside our facilities seriously. But Kelsey de Avila, the jail services project director at Brooklyn Defender Services, where Hiker works, said that their clients are telling a different story. BDS started its clothing drive in 2016 after clients said they were freezing in jail and weren't getting issued the warm layers they were requesting. Every year we hear the same complaints. In the winter, people are cold. They aren't getting the required warm clothing that the DOC is supposed to provide for people, the sweats and the blankets.
Yeah.
Our clients are saying the heat hasn't been turned on, windows are broken, so cold is coming into the units, and when they ask for the clothing, they have to beg or ask multiple times. So basically, I don't want to go through this whole thing, but I'm going to point out a few things in here. Because the U.S. system of prison and jails is so vast, including 50 state prison systems, the federal prison system, and nearly 3,000 jurisdictions that include cities, counties, and Indian reservations, and because there are no federally mandated laws on temperature control, American prisoners are exposed to a wide range of conditions. Even at the state and local levels, there are a few laws around this, leaving incarcerated people at the mercy of the courts to implement protections for them. And if the courts won't provide these rights, incarcerated people will have to rely on the goodwill and donations of concerned citizens to stay warm through the winter. So here's the thing, guys. This is for me. And John, if you're still in here, if you'll chime in at any time.
I'll come back in the studio.
Yeah, I think it you guys can read the rest of the article. I'm afraid the slides are going to be long. We won't have enough time.
That's right.
The thing about it for me is until we start pushing new legislation, nothing changes. So John put in the chat of an attorney that could be written, and somebody else, I saw it quickly, but it's in there, and we need to push to contact this attorney, his office. I think it's called Tragos Law, and they're out of Florida. They're in Clearwater. I suggest very heavily that we do that, guys, because till we start pushing and pushing and pushing back and getting legislation changed and falling on that on our constitutional rights that our prisoners do have under their amendments, their 8th Amendment, their 13th, and their 14th Amendment rights. If we do not push that, we can't make effective change. I think the only way is to go after them in court.
That's correct.
Keep pushing at them.
Right. And as mentioned before, which I think you already hit on, but again, it's going to be in the slides too, guys, ladies and gentlemen. But when you do like any type of contact with these guys to in a sense, work with them, even though it's been proven, guys, that they really don't quote unquote work for us, even though it's our money paying for them. Understand that the only way, I know this sucks to say, but I got to say it because there's a lot of misconception and confusion with it. I want you guys to understand that no matter, and it's so easy to do because I've been there, done that. It's so easy to get frustrated and mad and get all your feelings involved with these guys and say things that you probably will most likely regret. I get it. We're so frustrated when it comes to DOC, and sometimes things just slip, especially when it's a verbal conversation, say, for example, over the phone and whatnot. So always remember that in order to attempt, anyways, to get certain things done, believe it or not, you have to be nice. You have to be nice, as hard as it is for a lot of us. And I'm pretty sure it's hard for Tammy and me, especially because, I don't play around. I don't like when my taxes and the money that comes into the system don't get used for what it's getting used for. I paid for it, so I shouldn't even have to come in here and bitch, if you get my drift. But they do this anyways. So we got to play their game. We got to stoop down their level, folks, and, be nice to see if we can get anywhere. Because going in, cussing like a dirty sailor ain't going to get us nowhere. Would you agree, Tammy?
Oh yes, I use my grandmother's little trick, and it works really well, or it has for me so far. I've had to advocate a lot on my own, and so I would say, leave that up real quick. Oh,
there it is.
Everyone having information concerning prison corruption, contact George Tragos, Esquire of Tragos. I'm sorry, Sartis and Tragos, Clearwater, Florida, or law professor Devin Stone.
Yeah, interesting names.
So guys,
wow.
If you go look up Tragos, if you look at what he's done, George Sr., in his lifetime, the accolades behind him, you'll understand why John's saying go to him. I've read quite a bit on him, and I've watched a lot of stuff. So just want to let y'all know that. But anyway, got a little lost there.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I wanted to make sure everybody got that information. It's so important. Anyway, my grandmother said, blank them with kindness. And I have had some of the most in my line of work. Well, what I did before I'm at the job I'm at now, I don't get it as much, but sometimes I do when I have to deny a claim. But people would call in screaming and cussing. I worked for the New York State DMV during COVID. I won't even tell you how many ugly calls I would get in a day, or even sad ones, because New York got hit really hard. But I'd have people cussing and screaming and hollering. I just kept being really nice, and then I'd just get quiet, let them throw their little fit, and then once they got done, I had one guy, he called and he cussed me out, and I just sat there and I said, okay, and then he says, are you still there? And I said, yes. And then he'd start cussing again. And then he did that about 3 times.
Wow.
And the third time, he's like, okay, are you still there? And I said, yes. I said, I'm just letting you get it out of your system. And then when you're done, if you're ready, I'd like to help you, and let's resolve the problem. So then he calmed down. I went in and found out that everything he was upset about was already taken care of. So he threw this astronomical Ric Flair type of event, cussing and screaming, and the problem was already resolved. So by the end of the call, this gentleman says to me, he says, can I speak to your supervisor? And I said, sure. He says, I just want to apologize to you, and I want to tell your supervisor they need to give you a raise because you were so kind to me. And I said, you were upset and you called in and you had a problem and we need to resolve it. So I kind of deal with TDCJ the same way. I will call in, and if they get ugly with me, I'll just get very matter of fact.
Yeah.
I just make sure I get their name.
Yep. You can't.
I get
Mhm.
their name, and then I call back. And if they answer again, I tell them I want to talk to whoever the next in command. And the next
There
in
you
command.
go.
So you
That's
get
what I
up
was
there.
waiting for you to say, because again, there's again misconception and confusion going on around there that they don't know where to take the next step after they get disrespected and whatnot when it comes to a higher up. There's always a higher up and up and up the chain you go. So keep going. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you just keep doing that, because don't give up. Don't get disheartened. You tell your loved one to keep putting in the grievances. I have my own opinion about the grievance
So do I.
system. We all know it, so I'm not
So
going to
do
get
I.
into it. But just keep telling them to do
Mhm.
it. And as they're doing that, you follow up with
Mhm.
emails, phone call,
Yep.
email, phone call,
Yep.
email.
Absolutely.
You know.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some slides, courtesy of Tammy and whatnot. And again, this is I would consider the important part of this podcast, where you guys, we're going to go through each one kind of detailed and slow, so you guys can understand how this whole thing works, in case there's some, confusion or whatnot going down. And all that. So pay attention to some of these slides. I'm just going real quick through the chat real quick. I see you guys, and everybody that's in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys, as you know, love and respect you all. So we got some slides and some information to get involved with here tonight. And again, I want to go start with number 1 and put that up. And let's see, where am I at here? Where am I? Now,
we're going to go through the advocating for incarcerated loved ones.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get the number 1 first up here. But let me go ahead and put this up first. I think this is crucial. On your screen, this is important for everybody. And thank you, Tammy, for this information, by the way.
You're welcome.
It says here, advocating for incarcerated loved ones requires determination and persistence, which I have touched on numerous times since I started doing this. This is so dang true. Absolute 100%, guys. With a combination of respectful communication, underline respectful communication, legal knowledge, and public support, you can make a difference in improving their living conditions during the harsh winter months. And again, that's also including the summer months, as we'll redo this probably when summer gets here, as you know. All right. The next piece of information I'm going to show you guys on the screen. Again, if you guys want any of this, let me know. I can send it to you, and you can use this for your yourself if you need to, for whatever the reason. Anyways, this on the screen is the number 1, I believe it is. Number 1.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tammy. Sorry.
I think you skipped one, but it's
Did
okay. Let me see here. I think you may have gotten it. I don't know. Advocating for incarcerated loved ones during the winter months.
I must.
Yeah, you got that.
Oh,
You're good.
okay.
It's fine.
All right, fair enough.
Document the concerns.
Yeah, so
very important.
Yeah, so pay attention to this. This is really for advocates, but it's really for everybody, not just like a select few of any.
No, it's for the loved ones.
Yeah, I know.
Because
but
like anybody that calls in and then join with the advocates to get them to back you up, I find that if we take a pack mentality approach, like say one unit, it's one person, but if it's happening to one person in this unit, it's more than likely going on through the whole system. So if we all join together, even though my loved one may be at so-and-so unit and Tanya's loved one may be at so-and-so unit, and Jay's may be at some so-and-so unit, if we all get together and write Jay's loved one's unit and call, it's a bunch of us. It's not just one phone call. It's not just Jay. It's all of us together as a group. So I encourage you to find a group that you like, or people that you can feel like you can get on board, and they don't have to know your inmates' information. No. They don't need all of that. I don't find that necessary, and that's why I don't go to certain advocacy groups. They don't need to know such personal information. Just get those calls rolling in. Hey, we've heard Wing G at Beto has no heat and no blankets. Let's get to it. or such and such doesn't have mattresses over here. So it's really about taking that group mentality and sharing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And again,
So
and you hit on it, but just to clarify for all of you that may or may not know this, these things are very important. Otherwise, what you're trying to do could not work in your favor. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to beat them in their own. I hate to say, yeah,
game.
beat them in their own game. So you got to do these steps, folks, before you can, get anything else done, because it's crucial. Without evidence of any kind, you're just wasting your time. Absolutely.
So what you're going to do is you're going to document your concerns, gather specific
Hmm.
information, ask your loved one to provide specific details about the issues. Example, broken heaters, lack of hot water, inadequate
Hmm.
blankets. This will help you make a precise and compelling
Yes,
case. Keep records. Document every communication you have with the
correct.
facility, including phone calls, emails, or
Hmm.
letters. I use a calendar. I buy a cheap Dollar Tree
There you go.
calendar, or you can go anywhere, and I write down on that date on the calendar. I'll write, spoke to Officer Johnson about G-Wing no heat. Uh, Also requested extra
Hmm.
blankets. You know, at 4:30 p.m. on January 1st. You write this stuff
Hmm.
down so that if you have to go back and write a complaint or there's legal action taken later on, you have it at your disposal.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. So
Okay.
remember, guys, without any proper documents, and what Tammy hit on, nothing's going to work in your favor. Also, if you're making phone calls, I highly also suggest find a way to record these phone calls. Excuse me, in our electronic stores, electronics, they can sell or do sell recording devices. If you can't do that, just use have you have an extra.
There's apps
Right,
too.
that. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, apps. If you have an extra phone, I'm talking if somebody don't have an extra phone, but I think a majority of us have extra phones and whatnot. But anyways, get it recorded somehow, some way. Find a way to keep those documents for court purposes and other reasons. There you go. All right, with that, let's move on to the next one. This is number 2.
Oh,
Go ahead, Tim.
understand the
Mhm.
policies and standards.
Yes.
Research facility rules. Review the facility's policies regarding winter supplies and heating. Many facilities have guidelines for maintaining minimum
Mhm.
standards. No rights. Familiarize yourself with local, state, and federal standards for humane treatment of incarcerated
Mhm.
individuals, such as those set by the American Correctional Association. You may not have known that existed, but now you
Mhm.
do. Or the Prison Litigation Reform Act.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So, and if you want to go in and read those
Yes.
things, familiarize yourself because it'll help all year round.
Yes.
Um, so next slide is number
All right, let me go.
3.
Let me go ahead and
Jay.
real quick before I go to number 3, Sarah Tam, I got to say something too. There is this American Correctional Association or Prison Litigation Reform Act, but there's also there's also a book out there that you guys can get, and it is free. You can also download it on a PDF file. I've done a show many times on it. It's called the Jailhouse Lawyer Handbook, and they do have an updated version of that. And you can download that too as well and send this information into your locked up loved one and all of that, because it's considered legal mail in a sense. So there's a lot of resources out there, guys, that you guys can help your situation, especially when it comes to no heat and all of that. Let's go ahead and now get into the next one. Here's number 3.
Contact the facility. Start with
Amen.
internal channels first. Write a formal letter. Address the prison warden or administrator to report the issue.
Pay
Be
attention, guys.
respectful,
Yes.
concise, and specific.
Mm-hmm.
Inquire about policies. Politely ask what steps are being taken to ensure winter preparedness. Call the facility. Reach out to the appropriate department. Inmate services, maintenance. Be persistent and courteous.
Mm-hmm.
But courteous. Sorry about that. So, guys, and this is what I do when I email them.
Yep. Go ahead,
I like
Tammy.
emails better than a stamped address letter. I just email. And what
True.
I will do is
Right.
CC somebody in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then so that they know it's not just me writing them, that somebody else has eyes on the situation. And then once I talked to them, I had some issues that when my husband was at Beto, and what I would do is write the family liaison and CC the warden in it. And then
Correct.
I be CC'd. If you don't want them to know who the third party is, you can do what's called BCC in the chain of email, and they will not see that third person. I have somebody that every email that I send out, she's like my backup for everything. She's an advocate in Mississippi that we grew up together, and so I BCC her in everything I've ever emailed out, even to my husband's public pretender.
Yes.
So,
See, and that works. You have to do it that way.
You
And
cover your butt that way, because when we go to do our writ of habeas corpus, those emails that I
it's
BCC
proof.
her in, she's like a witness now as to, yes, emails were sent to his public pretender.
Yes,
Who
it's a
said he
digital.
didn't get them.
Correct. It's a digital trail, guys. And everything is when you do digital, even in some circumstances, it's even better than handwritten letters to a certain extent, because you got timestamps. And I think the IP address will even show that it came from you or your location and their location. So they can't say they never got it, but they do. They do say that.
They will stand in court and lie because he did. So the thing is, too, is what I will do is I'll send an email out and say, so-and-so on this wing is blah, 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 not getting food, not getting whatever. Could you please check on his welfare and being, and, what are the policies, or how can we ensure this won't happen again, or whatever. And what I will do after I give the family liaison time, or the warden secretary, depending on the unit, after I give them time to respond to me, I will follow up if I've not heard back from them in, say, like 12 to 24 hours. I'm writing them again. Or even if I do hear back from them, I make sure to send as we discussed on the phone today, per the conversation, XYZ, and you said you were going to XYZ, and I appreciate your due diligence in this matter, or whatever. And then that way you have another backup that, hey, you're keeping that open communications. And if you are respectful, even if they're rude, a lot of times they will eventually come around to the fact that you're not going away. And their best bet is to just go ahead and deal with the situation.
Right. And before we go on to the next slide, guys, John Doe, who I have a lot of love and respect for. Thank you, John, for being in here, of course. He says this in the chat, guys, and this makes great sense, too, with everything else that's being talked about tonight. So thank you for bringing this up and making talking points. Also, you can forward emails, the original receipts, CCs, like Tammy just mentioned, and BCCs can't see the forward in programs other than Microsoft Outlook. Very interesting. Okay, so that's, again, very knowledgeable information. And again, thank you, John. I appreciate you, my friend.
I'm glad he's in here tonight.
Yeah, me too. Very knowledgeable and very gifted individual.
Yeah.
Vicky Jones. Again, welcome in, Vicky, if I didn't say it earlier. Right, Mom, they don't want people to know his rights. Yeah, interesting. And then Bert said, sorry, all. Yeah. And it's a sad situation that we even have to do it like this. But as you guys know, DOC and other government entities just don't give a damn. As long as they get their money, they're happy.
Well, knowledge is power, guys. That is so very true.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the reason why they hate us. They don't like what we're doing. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Here we go. Number 4.
Now, this is really important, kind of what I was talking about, that group mentality. Leverage external advocacy. Contact state departments. Notify the State Department of Corrections if local efforts fail. Use formal channels to escalate complaints. Reach out to advocacy groups. Partner with organizations like the ACLU, Prison Policy Initiative, or local prisoner rights groups for guidance and support.
There you go.
and engage legislatures. And I have done this many a times for many different issues other than prison advocacy.
There you go.
Write to local representatives or senators about the conditions.
Yes.
Politicians can often apply pressure on facilities to improve conditions. And there are some, we know from that podcast that we did, there are some senators and representatives out there in Congress who do want to see change in the prison system.
Yes.
And they don't agree with the abuse that's going on.
Well, of course not, because I think some people, believe it or not, Tammy, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but just for some insight for you all, I think a lot of people are slowly starting to wake up and realize that there is a massive amount of lawsuits that come in constantly when it comes to DOC and all the mess that's being taken care of there. So, and the taxpayers are starting to be loud about it, and they're getting sick and tired, like me, like you, and every other taxpayer, getting sick and tired of having to pay for these mistakes, which we shouldn't. And I think that's a lot of it, guys. I think that's a lot of the reason why things are changing around here slowly but surely. But yeah, absolutely. But in any ways, let's go ahead and did you want to continue with this one? You want me to go on the next one?
No, we're done with this one.
Okay. So take notes, guys. Right. Take notes, guys, and realize that there's a lot of, rumors and gaga flying around out there when it comes to, like, say, people that have never been there, done that in society, saying that our locked up loved ones don't have any rights, or even me, former locked up loved ones out here don't have any rights. Well, there you go. There's some things right there that shows that we do. So just pay attention. Don't believe the bull crap unless it's coming from somebody that's been there, done that. Moving on to the next.
Some of those been there, done that don't always give the best advice because maybe they were affiliated locked up.
True. No, I got you.
Like that, or had ulterior motives, or whatever their deal is. This whole browbeating and scaring people to death, I don't agree with it.
Right. But there's a lot of misinformation being floated around out there. And again,
there is.
So again, I don't listen to a lot of fake news, if you get my drift. But anyways, number 5, take it away, Tammy. It's all yours.
Build public awareness. Use social media. Share your concerns on platforms to bring public attention to the issue. Protect your loved one's privacy by avoiding specifics that might lead to retaliation.
Correct.
And that's very important. You don't have to put, like I told you, like when my husband first went in, there's an advocacy group that wants to know their number, their what unit they're in, their name, and all that. You know what? No, I'm not giving you, because I don't know you like that. And I'm not going to give you all that information because I don't know what your person's in there for. You're you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody does that, I'm not saying you can't, use your own buyer beware discretion, but there's a lot of politics that go on in prison, and you never know. Like, say your loved one, like my husband is white and African American. He's mixed. So
right.
We grew up military, so we didn't really, I don't want to say see color. We grew up to accept everybody. And so say you have an advocacy group and they see me and I look and appear white, they might think my loved one's white, and then they assume that, and then they go look him up, and he's not, and their loved one is part of the AB.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you
just don't want to put yourself out there that way where somebody has your loved one's information. That's just my personal opinion.
Sure.
And sometimes there's people that actually work for the prisons that are in some of these advocacy. They infiltrate into the advocacy groups sometimes.
Yes.
Not always, but sometimes. So
they're sneaky.
Use caution, guys. Use caution.
Yeah, they're sneaky because not everybody's right. Absolutely hit on the nail on the coffin on that one, Tammy. Absolutely correct. You got to be mindful. You got to do your homework in some circumstances. Not everybody's going to be your friend, guys. There's snakes in the grass. And and when you're walking through that tall grass, if you disturb them, they're going to bite you. And sometimes this is what happens, when we do these type of things, there's always going to be a bad apple in the bunch that's going to try to ruin whatever it is that you're trying to do or conduct or start. And don't let them get to you, because they're just trying to rain on your parade.
Correct.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, and on the bottom of this, organize or join campaigns. Collaborate with other families to create a collective voice.
Love
Petitions, letter writing campaigns, or peaceful protests can amplify your message.
Absolutely. Free speech, guys. First Amendment.
It's kind of like I was telling my husband tonight. I was like, babe, remember I told you at one of the units that the females had no, and this is no lie in Texas, the Lane Murray unit, they were without the females, they were without toilet paper, and they were without sanitary napkins. How do you run out of that? Tell me how in the world do you run out? And the women have to use their socks. I'm going to get descriptive because this is absolutely pisses me off. There is no reason.
Again, that's common sense.
They should have to be treated like we're in some third world country. I mean, you know what? Shame on you, America. Shame on you, Texas. You want to clout yourself as being this great state and all this crap. Shame on you. Period. It's disgusting. But he was like, why don't you call the media? And babe, it's frustrating because the media doesn't really want to report.
Gee, I wonder why.
Concerning inmates. Because number one, Texas wants to keep it hush hush. Number two, they don't think anybody will care. But I think people are starting to understand how prison really is. It's coming out more and more. Mm-hmm. They can't hide it anymore.
Well, again, if I may be brief here real quick, Tammy, what you hit on. Again, the toilet paper, for instance, if some of you may or may not know this, just for some insight for you guys, the toilet paper and other sanitary items are already paid for and shipped in bulk from us, the taxpayers. That's the stuff that you, I don't think you can buy on commissary. I think you can buy some hygiene items, but I don't think you can buy personal toilet paper that I'm aware of, unless things have changed.
You can in Texas.
Okay, see, I didn't know that, but nonetheless, I know where I came from. You couldn't. Right, you shouldn't have to, because it's already provided, if you will, by the taxpayers paying for that toilet paper. And again, what you just said there is they ran out. How do you run out? But I get it. There's 2,000 people in jails and over 2,000 people in prisons.
Quit arresting them all and putting them in prison.
Yeah, but how do you run out? That should be stocked. But anyways. Moving on, guys. It makes you kind of wonder where is the tax dollars going? I know where it's going.
Somebody's pocket.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to number 6, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys appreciate the podcast. Again, hit and smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. That tickles the little YouTube algorithm over there and the other platforms that I'm on. And again, guys, please take notes. This is all important. And share this with you guys and share it with your locked up loved ones and just put it all out there. Go ahead, Tammy. Number 6.
Number 6, file complaints. Use oversight channels. Submit formal complaints to the entities like the Office of the Inspector General or the prison ombudsman in your state. Report to health and safety agencies if heating or water issues violate health codes. Report the facility to local health or safety inspectors. Even if they ignore it, you still have it on record that you did this, and the state entity.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Texas quotes that they have their own governorship over the prisons. So the health department won't go in and do things, or this one or that one won't. But I don't care. Get it on record, guys. Get it on record with them.
Yeah, and if I may, real quick, Orphan Annie in the chat. Sorry, Tammy. And something important. I don't know if you guys know this, but right now, again, I guess California is on fire again. California is on fire again in the Hughes area. It's in Huge now, so it's huge. Good Lord, we're back in the fires again, and they're going to send our locked up low ones out there to fight it with little pay. Carry on, Tammy. Sorry about that interruption.
No, I'm glad she posted it. Provide alternative support. Send supplies if allowed. Send warm clothing, thermal socks, or additional funds to your loved one's commissary account so they can purchase winter essentials. Encourage communication. Let your loved one know you are advocating for them and encourage them to document their living conditions.
Yes. So again, very important information, guys. Without this information, your advocacy is going to fail. So
And
again,
John said it's also worth reporting it to the FBI as well.
absolutely.
I do that quite often. They have there's a specific, I'll try and get it and post it. I won't try. I will do it. I just got to get around to it.
Right.
They
Also
have a
DOJ.
reporting thing for civil liberties rights violations, and so does the DOJ.
Yep.
I've
So
done
report.
it, believe me.
So again, you got massive amount of areas to report, ladies and gentlemen. DOJ, it stands for the Department of Justice. Get a hold of them and see what they can do. The more ears, mouths, and whatever else you want to add to this mix will be beneficial for all of us and you. So go ahead. Yeah. So do your due diligence, guys. I know it's a lot of work, overwhelming. It can be hard at some locations, but don't fight it alone. You got us. All right. So
That's
anyways,
right.
number 7. Go ahead, Tammy.
We did number 7. We're on number 8.
Oh, crap. I must have put it up there twice. I don't know how I did that. Anyways, number 8. My bad. There you go.
It's okay. Monitor progress. Follow up. Consistently follow up with the facility and any agencies involved. Persistence often leads to action. Encourage inspections. Advocate for surprise inspection of the facility. Ensure compliance with heating and hygiene standards. I swear, I don't know, John Doe, I would love for you to draft with me something that we could get going nationally to ask for a group not authorized by the state, independent party of peoples that are not employed by state agencies to go in and do these pop inspections for several different things.
I agree. I love pop-in.
To.
I love pop-in investigations, especially the ones that are unannounced. John Doe said this: how are they sending inmates out to fight fire when they're not certified?
That's a great certify them. They send them to a fire safety and fireman's course. They get certified in California, and then they pay them $5 and I think it's 70 cents an hour. To go out there and risk their lives. Here's what I want to know, John. How do you send them out there? How do you send them out there to work independently out there fighting fires and say you're in a big chaotic thing? You know, they don't have anybody really watching them, right? So they're too dangerous to be out in society, but they can be out in society.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
I was thinking that the other day when I was watching it on the news. That's like, you know, they think these men are so dangerous, but they can be out there and fight a fire.
These inmates get so much discredit when it comes to their record and what they may have on their record and whatnot. Oh my God, I don't want them to be out in society, and they're scary people, but then yet they'll put them out there and fight fires. Yeah,
it's absolutely insane.
Man, there's just so much hypocrites. It's it's amazing. But anyways, so I think that was everything, wasn't it, Tammy? On the
Yeah, that's everything, guys. Okay. I mean, I have email templates if you need them.
Yes,
advocate. There you go. I don't mind sharing the knowledge. I don't mind helping, and hell, sometimes I need help. I'll ask. I'm not shy about it either. Let me tell you. Sometimes we need help. Everybody needs that lift up and that boost for support in what we're doing. This advocacy is not for the faint of heart.
No, you're going to get your hands dirty, and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to get PO'd. And It's going to be hard. But then yet, when you get to that point, use that energy and turn it into something positive, and just use it and get more stuff done instead of fighting and bickering and disrespecting them, even though they do it to us all the time. I get it. Channel it in a different area. Get a punching bag.
Yeah.
Just find a way to channel your frustration, because you're going to get it, because you're going to get on those phone calls and you're going to get those reply emails back, and they're going to be like, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be rude and disrespectful, but you got to fire back and, basically reverse psychology.
I got a little cute story about that with a specific unit in
Okay.
Texas.
That's probably good.
During the Texas, as they call it, the Texas train or whatever they want to. I'd like to call it the Texas bullshit. But anyway,
Fair enough.
while he was being transferred from Beto, they sent him all the way down to Win Unit. They get there to Win, but on the way to Win,
yes, very true.
Transportation department, I know you remember this. The transportation department did not fix, whoever at Beto, they didn't fix enough food for all of the inmates on the bus.
Oh, imagine that.
These terrible, most disgusting inmates in the world that were on the bus, they shared their meals with other inmates on the bus.
Oh, yeah, imagine that.
Drinks. They're so terrible, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're so bad.
They get down to Win Unit and they sit them outside on the basketball court.
Yeah, they're
on the ground, and they feed them all when they get there, which I was thankful, because they all got to eat and they were all very thankful. Mm-hmm. Apparently Win Unit has pretty good food. Beto does not. So they get there.
Thank you, Texas.
So when they go in, they go in and they put them, the ones that are not staying, they put them in G5 solitary seg. Without mattresses, without blankets for the night.
Wow. See, and again,
and Rick was like, there are roaches crawling all over the place.
Yummy.
And he was just dying. He's never lived like that or been around any of that kind of thing. And so he's calling me and he's like, babe, we have no mattresses. We have no sheet, no blanket, nothing, no anything. He says, I said, okay, let me get on it. So I called and I got yelled and screamed at by the CO that answered the phone. And I said, can I get your name, please? What do you need my name for? I said, because I'm asking for it. I said, I can hang up and call back and continue calling back, but I really need your name, please. And she says, my name is da-da-da-da-da. And she busted out her name. And then she says, and the sergeant on duty will be in a little bit and da-da-da-da-da, and he'll handle it. Well, this was a Saturday night.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know what? If I was the warden, the worst thing that I could get on a Saturday night is an email.
Yeah.
Being bugged on the weekend, right? So I'm like, but you know what? I'm going to bug his weekend because this pisses me off, in my head.
Well, yeah, because you're a concerned citizen, concerned taxpayer. Yeah, absolutely.
So I wrote him and I said, look, I said, these guys came in and I know you have nothing to do with transportation, but they didn't get their food. They didn't get this. They didn't get that. And the guys actually shared their meals with other guys. And I want to thank you and your staff for feeding them when they got there. But, and here comes the part of the but they were up in Seg with no mattresses. What can be done about that? And can they get a sheet and a mattress to cover with?
Wow. So
then they say to me, I get an email back. He's like, I'll look into it. I call back up to the prison to see if that sergeant's come in. And I get they can't get to the mattresses because they're in such and such building. And
this is how you get stuff done, guys. Pay attention. Yep.
So I thought, so you're telling me in a prison there's not one person there responsible for having access to all of the rooms and all of the areas of the prison? They have to have access. I'm not an idiot, right?
Mhm.
So I write the warden again. I'm like, per our conversation, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. I called the prison. I talked to a sergeant, and I was told that they don't have access to such and such room, and that's why they don't have mattresses and blankets or sheets. And he wrote me back and said, I will handle this immediately. Because in my email, I made sure to include, I would like to think that there is someone on the premises, a member of staff that has access to all of the
Good night,
areas
Bert.
of the unit. So I was basically telling him, look, I know damn well that there's somebody with a set of keys to every area in the prison. Nice try.
Yeah.
But it's the way you have to word things to them. I would like to think that such and such, for the safety of the community and all in the prison, say you do a count and there's one person missing, seems to me like they'd have to have all areas of the prison covered, correct? Come on.
Yeah.
So right after that, my husband called me about 10 minutes later, and he's like, hey babe, guards are really pissed off, really mad at me, really mad at all these guys up here, but we all have mattresses and sheets. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to keep after them.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind, I don't have a similar story like yours, but as you guys know, I have a locked up loved one like Tammy, and most of you that watch me do. Again, everybody's locked up loved one situation is always going to be different than somebody else's, but we're not here for a compete match, so just keep that in mind. But I have a story, and I'll make it brief. As you guys know, I have a locked up loved one who's been locked up since 1994. And they treat her like garbage. Not all the time, but I would say when they can get a chance to, they do. And because of her status and who she is and reputation and all that fun jazz, including me, we got some things done, and just with this current situation, well, I wouldn't say current, but it's it's about 2-3 years old now. Nonetheless, they tried to accuse my locked up loved one of doing a heinous crime while locked up with a bunny rabbit of all things. We will be having that whole entire detailed case and more details.
Oh yeah, you guys just wait till you hear this one.
You guys think your stomach turns when you get some drastic, stories from other people's stories and whatnot. This one's going to turn your stomach. But the good news is there was no proof of any of it, and she's filed a lawsuit. We're winning, and we're in the stages of negotiation now. Thanks to me, thanks to other advocates, thanks to her groups and organizations she belongs to. And of course, you guys, when you make a lot of noise, even the news media is wanting to pick this up, but they put it on hold because it's not settled yet. Once it's settled, that's going to be my story for on here. So just keep that in mind, how that works. We got a lot of stories to tell, and the corruption is deep.
Just remember that these some of these guards will come after certain individuals, and they'll lie, and they think they can get away with it. It's just like the 13.
Good night, Vicky. Good night, everybody.
Good night. It's just like the 13 that unalived the man. Yeah. Had their cameras been really turned off that night, they would have got away with it. And they've gotten away with it multiple times before now, I'm sure.
Correct.
But they got caught. Sometimes God steps in and says, you know what? We got you this time. We got you.
Texas Mom's email is right here. Please take a screenshot of it, share it. Again, there it is. Get a hold of her and work with her. She's also a strong advocate. Tammy is another strong advocate. Like I said, I got a lot of love and respect for you ladies, more than you know, and all that, including Vicky. John, again, respect you dearly. And then, of course, I respect Bert and countless others that are in the chat tonight.
And Ashlyn, too.
Ashlyn, absolutely.
She's great.
Yeah. She kicks ass, including her Shannon.
Her, Tanya. I mean, I feel like we're all going places that we need to go.
Yeah.
And we just have to keep pushing.
Yeah. And then Vicky said, yeah, happy for her. Yeah, it's going to be big, guys. It's going to be huge. And I can't wait to share it with you guys what's going to happen next. Even though it sucks, the taxpayers have to pay for this stupid ass mistake. It should never happen in the first place. But we are moving ahead on it. And once it gets settled, which it's going to be huge, I'll let you guys know. But absolutely. And we're going to do a story on it. Jay Lee is going to be on this podcast talking about it with her own voice.
Yeah,
We'll make it a thing.
Great.
We'll make a thing out of it. But with that being said, however, this is going to go ahead and cut it for tonight, Tammy. Again, much love and respect to you for being here. I appreciate you doing all the work behind the scenes and what you do on other platforms. You're appreciated nonetheless. I hope you know that, including Texas Mom, including Vicky, John. Absolutely with you, 100%, no doubt. Trey, thank you so much for being what you are and who you are. Love you over there. Again, Bert and Orphan Annie. Rose is usually in here, but she's got stuff going on. But, if I haven't mentioned your name, you all know who you are. Again, thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of the show. You guys make this podcast what it is, and I love you guys for it. With that, did you want to say closing arguments before we bounce, Tammy, or did you want to say something else?
No, just anybody, like I said, if you need any of the information, just reach out to Jay or myself. I will be posting it in Voices for Texas Prisoners.
Absolutely.
On Facebook. That group is there. I will be posting it in Tanya's group. For all of you that are in Texas. Cynthia, if you've not joined, I'll try and send you an invite for that group, because I think you would enjoy it in there quite a bit.
Right.
Anyway, and you could send it to your sister Debbie too as well. But
right.
Thank you guys for everything. I appreciate you very much. All the prayers. I just absolutely love all of you. I really do. You've become very important people in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is how we get stuff done, guys. And again, if you're going to do like we mentioned earlier, quick recap before we bounce out of here, make sure you're respectful.
Yes, well, I agree. The food is terrible in most of the units unless you work in the kitchen and get to be able to kind of make your own food. It's terrible. I agree with you. And that's something that I'm really concerned about as well, because my husband's diabetic, and I think that people with health issues, and a lot of them leave out of their diabetic because the food is so terrible for them.
Right. Thank you, Texas Mom, for your information. Again, there's the emails. There's an email here on your screen, Tammy E at voicesfortexasprisoners.com. I believe I said that right. And then, of course, there's this one, too. Thank you, Texas Mom, for that information. The TX Prisoner Project at gmail.com. And, of course, mine's on the ticker right there. Email us at voicesfrominsideout at gmail.com if you have any issues or concerns with getting connected with anybody else. We're all on the same team here, so it'll get out eventually. There it is, guys. And if you have any, questions, concerns related to this topic tonight or anything else, put it in the email, put it in the chat, put it in the chat later when this is uploaded, and, we'll go from there. All right. With that being said, thank you, Tammy, for being here. And to all of you for being here, I respect every single one of you. Let's keep pushing and let's get the heat turned on in these prisons. With that said, I'm your host, Jay. I'll see you guys on the next one. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.